Udah, Mbak.
Can I start?
Okay, just a moment, please. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today regarding visiting the lecture program from University of Custom and Finance from Ukraine. Welcome to the Honorable Miss Iryna Pavlovska, as a PhD in Economic Science, Associate Professor, Department of Marketing with us today, and also to all participants today. Today's session is being streamed on Universitas STEKOM YouTube channel. And now I will read our agenda for this afternoon today. First, we will start with presentation by Miss Iryna Pavlovska on the topic the power of NLP, the difference that makes the difference in business. We will continue with the Q&A session for all participants in the next session. If you have any question for the speaker, please add them to the chat or raise your hand. Your question will be answered after the presentation. And let's start our class today for Miss Iryna. The time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. 7 seconds. I want to show my presentation. You see my presentation?
Yes.
Just a moment. Just a moment, I'm so sorry. Don't see my presentation. Okay. I list my slide. You see?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. First of all, I want to say thanks a lot for your inviting and for your interest to our country, in our university, in our lectures. Now I want to present my lecture, The Power of NLP, the difference that makes a difference in business. And before I start, I want to say that you know that most people in business are being very manipulative without meaning to. They are very often manipulating people out of motivation into problems and away from their goals. And I think that knowledges about NLP, about neuro-linguistic programming technologies will help many people in business practice. As for me, with NLP, I think I have learned how to respect people, especially my own people, husband, family, friends, for who they are. In this case, I'm not talking about business, but about the fact that NLP really changes people's lives for the better. So, the questions which I would like to consider today is following. And let's start. The first question: what is NLP? And before we begin to discuss the essence of NLP, I want to quote the words of the Christian pastor of Northern Irish, Bob Gus. What we see and hear is what we think about. What we think about is what we feel. What we feel influences our reactions. Reactions become habits, and it's our habits that determine our destiny. Neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, is the study of what works is thinking, language, and behavior. It's a way of coding and reproducing excellence that enables you to consistently achieve the result that you want, both for yourself, for your business, and for your life. We live in a world of unprecedentedly change. We need skills and attitudes to help us learn how to make sense of chaos. We need to know how to pick ourselves up when we are down, to learn from uncertainty and disappointments, to shape our direction and to be prepared to lose all. We need to know how to communicate with people of vastly different culture and more than anything, how to communicate with ourselves. We need to understand others' perceptions, even if they are poles apart from ours, and we need to listen to the wisdom of our own bodies. We need to learn as we have never learned before. Now then, do we cope? In some ways, the answer is a paradox. We need to look within ourselves and find our unique resources. In this way, we can develop our own formulae for success. We need to know how to learn from every situation, everyone, and every intuition. Neurolinguistic programming, NLP, is a process of modeling the conscious and unconscious patterns that are unique to each of us in such a way that we are continuously moving towards a higher potential. Neuro, by increasing our awarenesses of the patterns in our thinking, we can learn how these thought patterns influence that results we are getting in work and in life. The key of finding personal and business success comes primarily from within ourselves, and learning about how we think enables us to tap into our inner resources. The next, linguistic. Our languages is our life. What we can say is what we can think and what we can do. Learning to understand and master the structure of our language is essential in a world where we work in, doing business, fall in love, and finally get married increasingly through our ability to communicate. The next is programming. Programming. We run to our lives by strategy in a similar what the computer use a program to achieve a specific result. By understanding the strategies by which we run our lives, we give ourselves choice to do more of the same, of choice to enhance our potential and our individual excellence. In essence, NLP is the study of our thinking, behavior, and language patterns so that we can build a set of strategies that work for us in making decisions, building relationships, starting up a business, coaching a team of people, inspiring of motivating others, creating balance in our lives, negotiating our way through the day, and above all, learning how to learn. We have strategy for everything we do. The good news is that we can learn how to refine existing strategies as well as learning new ones. So sorry. As well as learning new ones and even discarding those that are redundant. The bad news is that for the most part, the critical pieces of the strategy are outside of our conscious awareness. We typically don't consciously know what we do and especially how we do it. This is where NLP comes in. With NLP, we can unpack not only the conscious elements, but especially the unconscious ones, so that we can learn how we do what we do. This allows us to do what we really want and achieve what we deserve. And what is the relevance of NLP? I'm often asked, is NLP still relevant? And my answer is a resounding yes. This is nothing else in the world of human development and learning as powerful as NLP. Emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, visualization, and various other new concepts in human resource development and mere derivatives of the NLP process. By studying NLP technologies, you will find your own applications and your own formula for success. That is the real joy and power of NLP. In business, especially, NLP is the difference that makes the difference in personal and business coherence, communication, strategic things, e-business motivation, influence, negotiations, leadership, entrepreneurship, empowerment, self-development, visualization, re-engineering. I think the list is endless. NLP pays very little attention to what people say they do, and that usually bears very little or no resemblance to what they actually do. You might think that by asking top achievers how they succeed, you would get precise answer. You would be wrong. The key to success is often unknown at their conscious level. Their previously unknown pieces are sometimes referred to as the magic of NLP. However, it's not magic, merely an awareness of what really makes the difference that is so often missing in more traditional models and technique. Using the if Using the tools of NLP, you can elicit these unknown pieces so that you can code your talent. The next question is the element of NLP narrow. NLP brings together many techniques that have been around for years and combines them with discoveries that are new. By the way, the elements of NLP don't fit perfectly in the categories of neural, linguistic, and programming. Nevertheless, these heading act as useful umbrellas under which to introduce the subject. And the first technique, umbrella, is narrow. Narrow is to do with the way we use our minds, our bodies, our senses to think and make sense of our experience. The more awareness we have of our thinking patterns, to more flexibility, and therefore the more influence we have over our destiny. The connections we make and the way we represent memories, ideas, and informations are unique to us. Everyone has their own way of thinking. When we understand the nature of these representations, we begin to influence our thinking, our emotions, and consequently our experience. What we think is what we are. We take in information through all the senses of sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. We represent this information in our mind as a combination of sensory system in inner feelings. These thinking patterns are a part of how we code our experience. By learning to manage our thoughts, we learn how to create the life and career we want for ourselves. Life is literally when we make it. Let's explore some difference is thinking patterns. Think about coffee. What comes to mind? A picture? Maybe you imagine coffee cups and coffee maker, or maybe you had the hiss of the coffee machine, or the noise of the coffee being poured into the cup. Then again, maybe it was more of a feeling. the feel of the coffee cup perhaps, or the taste of aroma of the coffee. Possibly it was a combination of some of all of these different ways of thinking. These different ways of thinking are at first visual. You think in pictures, you represent ideas, memories, imagination as mental images, e.g. a picture of cup of coffee. The next, auditory. You think in sound. The sound could be voice or noises, e.g. the sound of a coffee machine. And the next, feeling. You represent thoughts as feeling, either internal emotions or the thought of physical touch. We will include taste and smell in this category of feeling, the taste of coffee, for example, or aroma. You will find that you probably have a preference for some systems over others, both in the way you think and in the way you communicate. Within each of the main thinking partners of visual, auditory, and feeling, there are fine distinctions. For example, the color and clarity of an image, the tone and volume of a sound, the strength and location of a feeling. People who have control over their emotions and their experience have the ability to manipulate these fine distinctions in their thinking. Learning to exercise and extend your range of thinking patterns leads to mental agility, just as physical exercise leads to bodily flexibility. For example, you return home and walk into the kitchen area. The working surfaces are clean and white. On one surface is a blue ceramic bowl filled with fruit, vivid green apples, purple grapes, and several bright yellow lemons. You pick up one of the lemons and feel the textured surface with your fingertips. You raise it to your nose and smell the sharp aroma. Also on the surface is a sharp kitchen knife and wooden chopping board. You place the lemon on the board and slice through the middle of it. A fine mist of lemon juice spray into the air. You pick up one half of the lemon and see the defined segments and pips, some of them cut through. You raise this half to your mouth and sharp aroma is even stronger now. You sink your teeth into the skin. At this point, the saliva flow in your mouth will probably have increased. This is the power of thought. The way you think affects your internal state, which in turn triggers a physical reaction, in this case, the saliva flow. Your mind cannot distinguish between what is imagined and what is real. The next example, identify two people, one you like and admire and one you dislike. Now take the one you like and admire in your thinking about this person. Do you see him or her, and if so, what is the quality of the images? For example, is it bright or hazy, color or black and white, moving or still? Are there any sounds associated with their thinking? What are the qualities of the sound? Are they loud or faint, harsh or soft? What is the location of the sound? And what about the feelings? What exactly do you experience and where? Now, think of the person which you dislike and consider the same questions. What is similar in the quality of your thinking about the two, and what is different? The content is irrelevant. It's the nature of your thinking that makes the difference. This ability distinguish between the various aspects of your own and other people's experience is a way of determining the difference that makes the difference between those who do achieve what is important to them and those who don't. Let's consider these distinctions in thinking patterns in more detail. Visual distinctions. Brightness, it's bright or dim, dull or sparkly. Clarity, dim or hazy or sharp and in focus. Size, large than life size or smaller than life. Color or black and white. Full color, shadows of gray, partial color, black and white. Location, in front of you, to one side, behind you. Distance, close to or distance. Motion, still snapshots or movies. Speed, fast or slow. Frame, panoramic, enclosed in a frame or panoramic. Sequence, in order, random, simul, I'm sorry, simultaneous images. Associated, disassociated. Are you seeing as if out of your own eyes? It's associated. Or can you see yourself in the picture? It's disassociated. Now take a few simple images and experiment with them. Think, for example, about your journey to work. You can change your experience of this journey to make it better or worse by experimenting with your thinking about it. Start by changing some of the visual distinctions. For example, if it's dim, turn up the brightness, then put it back as it was. If it's still, make into a movie. Each time you experiment with distinctions, return it to its original form before experiment with another. This way, you will be able to establish how a change in a specific distinctions affects your experience of the situation, in this case, the journey. You may find that your thinking about the journey becomes more relaxed, more stressful, more interesting, or maybe more exciting. You may find initially that you are not aware of any picture in your thinking. This is not unusual. If this is the case, do the exercise with your eyes closed and allow yourself to become aware of what you do to notice. The next, auditory destinations. Volume, how loud, quiet, speed, fast or slow, location, where the source of the sound, is it in front of you, to one side, behind you, distance, is the sound close or far away, voice or sound, is it a voice or can you hear other sound? If it's a voice, whose voice and what tone is it in? Pitch, how high, low, mid-range. Continuous, if the sound continuous or intermittent. Take another memory. For example, your last disagreement at work. Experiment again, this time with the auditory distinctions. For example, if you can recall voice, make them soft and whispery. Now give them a different accent. Make them loud and boomy, remembering to return the memory to its original state before experimenting with the next distinctions. Note how this experiment affects the quality of the memory. What starts as an unpleasant memory can become an amusing one merely by changing the nature of the voice. Give someone the voice for a cartoon character. I don't know, for example, Bugs Bunny. What effect does that have? The next is feeling distinctions. Pressure. What sort of pressure can you feel? Is there a sense of being pushed, general or specific pressure? Location. Where in your body do you experience any sensations? Motion. Is there movement to the feeling? Is in flightry study, intermittent tingling? Temperature, hot, cold, or damp? Intensity, strong, weak, and pace. Is it a fast feeling, a slow one? Now think of a time when you felt joy. What does joy feel like to you, and where exactly in your body do you experience it? Experiment again. This time, experiment with the intensity of the feeling. Can you turn it up and down? Return the feeling to its original state. Change the place of the feeling. Continue to experiment with each element of the feeling, returning it to its original state before you experiment with the next one. You will find that in each case there will be one or two key distinctions for you. By changing these distinctions, you can change the quality of your experience. So, summary of this part. Once you have experienced something, it becomes a memory. When you react to a memory, you are reacting to the way you store that memory in your mind. Managing the distinctions in your thinking gives you the ability to influence and change the nature of your memories, so that you can store them in a way that result in your feeling the way you want to feel. Many people become skilled at storing memories in a way that leads to depression, anger, or other negative feelings. Why choose then when you could choose pleasure or peace? The same is true for the future. Why make yourself worried or frustrated about an event that hasn't occurred, when you could be making yourself confident and comfortable? You might choose to keep some of the worry in the form of concern. The point is that you choose the state you want rather that it's choosing you. Your ability to manage our state is more and more important as the world around us deface control and become increasingly unpredictable. You can be sure that you already use distinctions in your thinking patterns in this way. Whenever you change your experience of something, you are almost certain to have reprogrammed reprogrammed the way you think about it, even though you may not have realized that this was what you were doing. And now, as part of these questions about neuro, I want to say a few words about body language. And first of all, I want to talk about the eyes. Eyes are the mirror of our soul. Our eyes give powerful clues to the way we are thinking. As someone close to you now to spell, ask someone close to you now to spell Mississippi. If there is a choice, ask someone who claims to be good speller. What are their eye movements? Watch carefully, because some of the movements are flattening. Most gut spelling visuals the world they are spelling by picturing the world as if it were on a screen in front and slightly above them. They typically look up and to their left, but some may look up and to their right or straight ahead with defocused. stare. Each of these eye movement indicates visual thinking, a key part of a successful spelling strategy. The way we use our eyes indicates the kind of thinking that is going on. For example, eyes up and left, your left, visual remembered. This is where we look when we are remembering images we have seen before, e.g., the face of our partners, the last place we went on holiday, or our workplace when we did yesterday. The next, eyes up and right, your right, visual constructed. This is where we look when we are constructing images we have not seen before, e.g., ourselves in location we have always dreamed of but never been to, a colleague with experience of their face we have never seen, our home, redesigned the vision for our business. The next, eyes straight ahead, defocused, visual. The clue as to whether this is remembered or constructed can be determined by how the weight is distributed in the rest of the body. To the left and its remembered, to the right and its construction. The next, eyes to the side and left, your left, auditory remembered. This is where we look when we are remembering sounds that we have heard before, e.g., a favorite piece of music, the sound of friend's voice. The next, eyes to side and right, your right, auditory constructed. This is where we look when we are creating a sound that we have never had before, e.g., someone we know speaking in completely different tone of voice. Eyes down and left, your left, auditory digital inner dialogue. This is where we look when we are having a conversation with ourselves or asking for a question in our heads. And the last, eyes down and right, your right, external feelings and emotions. When we experience feeling, this is where we look. The direction may vary in that left and right may be reversed, but visual is always up or straight ahead defocused, and auditory is always looking towards the eyes, which can be a good way of remembering it. There is a theory that left-handed children and left-handed parents are more likely to have the sides reversed. It's virtually impossible to lie with body language, which is one of the reasons it's important to be aware of what thoughts are being communicated through this medium. Body language is everything in our behavior with which we communicate other than words. However, the way we say those words, e.g., the tone, the volume, the pitch of our voice, is our body language. So, in detecting whether we are thinking in visual, auditory, or feeling way, not only can we use eye movements as clue, we can also detect clues in body language. For example, someone thinking in visual way will typically speak quickly and high voice. They are trying to use words to get across the images they can see, so need to speak quickly to do this. Breathe high in the chest, rapid, shallow breathing. Gesture higher in the air, often trying to depict the images they can see internally, often show tensions in their body. The next, someone thinking in auditory way will typically speak in a rhythmic way, almost tunefully. talk mid-tone, breath mid-chest, gesture lower than someone who is thinking in a visual way. Often have their head tilted to one side as if to accentuate the almond they take in through their eyes. Frequently touch their eyes and mouth and often have their head against their face as if on the as if on telephone. And the next, someone thinking in a feeling way will typically speak in resonant way, slowly with frequent silences. Breathe low and the chest, slow breathe as if sighing. Gesture down and the right, you have had the expression downright angry. Down and right is usually where people go when accessing feelings. Have lie back, body posture relaxed and free moving. So, body language is at first voice, intonation, tone, accent, rhythm, pauses, stresses, speed, hesitations, emphasis, frequency, or a response to other. The next body language is a head and the face. It's facial expressions, eye movements, muscle tensions, skin color, head movements, facial lines, eye contact, head position. And the next body language is body is a body movement, posture, arm and hands gestures, frequency and nature of touch, both self and others, body rhythms, the kind of movements or stillness that is characteristic. Mouth expressions, proximity to others, timing of movements, breathing rate, breathing position, high, mid, or low in chest, position, direction of legs and feet. All of these elements and more are communicating our innermost thought every moment of every day. It's not that people don't recognize this signal, they do. We do all read one another's body language, but many of us have become used to ignoring signals we detected unconsciously. We have learned to delete or distort what we pick up intuitively by developing our conscious awareness of what these signals might be telling us. We start to draw on an immense untapped potential in our communications. Okay, the next questions, the elements of NLP linguistic. And before I begin to discuss this question, I also want to quote from the book The Next Common Sense by Michael Lissac and Johan Roos. Language and word choice form a manager's primary tool. Used wisely, sound guidance can grow from the seeds of the aligned word. Used poorly, and all you get are weeds. In the beginning was the world, yes. Your world is your life. Your language is in embroidery of patterns of what that tell you story. In business especially, language is a powerful tool. It's the currency of business transaction. The opportunity to practice your skill with language is available to you not only when you interact with others, but especially when you interact with yourself. Personal success relies largely on your ability to communicate. What we say matters little compared to how we say it, no matter what medium we use to convey the words. To communicate with influence, it's important that we are able to use language that engages the head and mind of our listeners. We can choose a language that leaves people cold and disinterested, or we can choose language that engages their heads and their minds and that they find compelling. I'm sorry. The quality of language is one of the significant factors that makes the difference between outstanding leaders and influencers and those who would aspire to achieve their standing, but who do ignite the hearts and minds of their listeners in the same way. The richer our language, the richer our internal experience, and the richer the experience of those with whom we engage. One of the early discoveries in NLP was the skilled communicators use language in a way that creates a climate of trust and understanding. The difference that makes the difference lies in the speaker in instinctive ability to adapt their language to match the language of the person to whom they are speaking. Your speech is an experience and expression of your way you think. For example, if you think visually, you are more likely to say, I get the picture, it's clear now, I see what you mean. The next, if however you think in auditory way, you are more likely to say, that sounds good, it rings bells for me, I hear what you are saying. And if your experience is more feeling based than you are like to say, that feels right, it made an impact on me, I was moved by what you said. And the language of taste and smell also come into this category of feeling. It left a bad taste in my mouth. I smell something fishy about that suggestion. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The next I would like to talk within these questions about meta messages. Now, often have you heard someone say, but I've told you this already, when you have not understood, remember it, learn it, or act it, or something that we said. Now, how often have you blamed the other person in these circumstances? If we want to get our message through and maintain long-term collaborations and partnership, we need to understand the strategies of the people with whom we are dealing. Their ways of learning, understanding, and remembering may be very different from our own. If we think someone has understood just because we have told them something, we can be in for a big surprise. For example, if we find out that an essential part of their strategy for understanding release of their seeing what we are saying as opposed to being told. And when we do begin to discover what are the needs from us, we need the flexibility to respond in ways that they recognize. This doesn't mean that we have to compromise who we are. We can be true to our values, yet develop the flexibility to demonstrate those values in ways that generate cooperation and respect. Once I entered a local cafe and the food is excellent, the coffee good, and venue is attractive, and the service is usually fast. However, what I stopped there for an early morning coffee, the waitress did not smile or greet me. As soon as she had taken the order, she returned to talking to one of the other waitresses. She was the same with other customers. Also, so much else about that cafe is excellent. The overall impression I got that day and another day was that customers weren't important. So you might get 99% of what you offer, right? But to provide the support services, friendship, and even love, then really shows you care in the way that the other person will recognize. You need to know how to get 100% right. You need to know how the message you are giving matches or not the perceptions of those of the receiving end of you and your business. If you get match right, it's increasingly likely that people will choose you as the person or business with whom they want to trade and keep on choosing of the future. This overall impression is the meta messages. Meta message is the message that is the sum total of all that we are doing and not doing, that is creating an impression on other people. And a meta message is what is communicated but not said, because it was is not said. It's often the things of which we are unaware that create these overall impressions. And now I want to talk about factors that contribute to meta messages. Factor one, environment. Our environment is part of the meta message, and it's often the first port of call for new contact of our business. Our environment is an expression of who we are. All environments tell a story. Our surroundings are an expression of decisions we make, compromise we have agreed to, goal we have achieved, desires and obligations. Look around you now. What does your environment say about you? In what way is it a metaphor for who you are? What message do your environment give to people who come there? Do you know? Anything outside of us constitutes our environment. This may include the buildings, the style of the office, the surrounding area. However, it's also included the materials used by the company, stationery, for example, and the way letters are written and addressed. Ultimately, the details are an expression of the person who heads up the organization. The external signs are a statement about how they communicate their values and what those values are. The external signs are also an expressions of their relationships the leader has with the people who work with them. The bowl of fruit on the table in meeting room is a symbol that had a positive influence on me. The dead flowers in the vase on the reception desk, or the streak on the coffee cups created an altogether different impressions. The next factor, factor two, how we dress. What we wear communicates a message about what is important to us, both generally in the moment when we picked that jacket or the suit out of the wardrobe. One of my friends always wears clothing that has some unusual details about it. Often it's the stitching that is different to the norm, or it may be that this is an aspect of the designing of the garment that is unique. It's never very obvious, but if you look carefully, it's always there. What he wears says a lot about his personality and what is important to him. The next factor, the way we behave toward others. All understand, I hope. The fifth factor, the way we demonstrate skills. Aligning our behavior with our desired outcome is not only the most powerful form of influence, but a way of teaching to the unconscious minds of our listeners or observers. The factor five, the way we meet our own or others' needs. And the last factors is our beliefs. I hope that you have experienced the company of someone who believes in you totally, someone who believes that no matter what you did, you would always win through okay. It would not have mattered what that person said to you or how they say it, because through it all their belief would communicate itself to you in the form of the meta message. You have the ability to success in whatever you do. Conversely, you may have experienced the company of someone who did not believe in you, someone who believed that you either did things for ulterior motives or were just lucky when you did success, and who seemed always to be waiting for your next mistake. Even if those people did praise or encourage you, if they did not believe in you and what you were capable of then, that would cut through their behavior with their meta message, you are not okay. My guess is that you respond to people according to what you think they believe about you. What we give others is often what they choose to connect with. Of course, the converse is true. What we get from others tell us a great deal about what we are choosing to connect with within them. And the last question, the element of NLP programming. The process of coding talent is known as modeling. When you step into someone else's shoes and reproduce what they do and the results they achieve, you are modeling. Modeling involves reproducing the same sequence of thinking, language, and behavior patterns as your subject. To do this, you may also need to take one, albeit temporarily, their identity and beliefs. In effect, to use a computer metaphor, you are eliciting the program code needed to demonstrate the talent, and you are running the program as and when you want it. The purpose of modeling talent in business is to reproduce excellence. If you want to reproduce the success of an outstanding salesperson, manager, or presenter, modeling enables you to do this. Equally, if you want to reproduce the way a successful enterprising company or individual present themselves through a remote medium, such as the World Wide Web or email, you can do this too. If someone can do it, anyone can do it too. That is the basis of modeling. Modeling is concerned more with the how than with the why. There is a joke that NLPers don't introduce themselves by saying, "How do you do?" But how do you do that? Um, Modeling is a state of curiosity and selflessness. It's a desire to listen, watch, respect, and learn from others as well as ourselves. Modeling is an interest in process over content. You can apply the process of modeling to yourself. You may, for example, want to reproduce an ability or skill that you have in some areas of your life or work in order to use it in other contexts. Let's suppose you are influential when dealing with colleagues but don't have the same level of influence with clients. You could model yourself in order to discover the difference between the two so that you can use your influence in whatever context you choose. We achieve the result we do through the programs we run in our minds and in our actions. Just a computer program are sequence of codes, so personal program are a sequence of mental and behavioral codes. When you walk, talk, drive, read, or laugh, it's unlikely that you think consciously about how you do these things. The program that makes them happen are managed on your behalf by your unconscious mind. These programs are known as strategy. Nevertheless, if you want to model excellence either in yourself or in other people, your aims is illicit. Both this unconscious strategy as well as the conscious ones of the enable you to do what you do. When you have the strategy for how someone manage the experience, you have the key to reproducing that experience for yourself. When a chef produced a gourmet dinner, not only is he following a recipe for the ingredients, he is also following a recipe for thinking and behavior. He may, for example, have an image of what he wants the dish to look like, accompanied by the aroma of the final meal. He may also be concerned with timing in the look and feel of the ingredients. He has a unique way of achieving the result. We have strategy for making for making decisions such as what to have for dinner, where to go on holiday, how to plan our day. There is a pattern to the way we do this. Understanding a strategy gives me a choice about how and when I use it. Um, Suppose you identify that your partner is negotiations has a strategy that involves at first creating a picture of what they want, visual. The next, asking themselves a question about the viability of that outcome, auditory, and the last, getting a feeling of certain that this is what they want, feelings. By matching this strategy, you will be helping and influencing their decision making process. And maybe the last, it's a shortcut to modeling a skill. NLP is a process of modeling. I say about it, and it's what we do already, but often unconsciously. And first, identify the skill that you want to model and reproduce. Be specific in the definition of the skill. For example, you may know someone who can get and hold the audience attention within seconds of the start of presentations, or make decisions, or wake themselves up in the morning without the aid of an alarm clock. Decide specifically what skill you want to reproduce and in what context you want to be able to use it. The next, select a person or people in the company whom you consider demonstrate excellence in the skill. Choose the top performer. Be sure you understand what you mean by excellence. Define excellence in terms of the result that your model of excellence achieves. Define excellence in terms of what you see, hear, and feel when this top performer is displaying the skill. Third, observe your model in action to identify the following: what specifically they do and how do they do it. Any subtle behavior patterns, watch their eye movements and their nonverbal behavior, how they manage their environment, their language patterns, which filters do they use, what beliefs and values they demonstrated and express, how they communicate a sense of identity, what purpose they seem to or say that fulfill. The next questions your model. For example, what you seeing, what are you saying to yourself, and so on. You are interested in the what and the how of what they do, and not that why. For example, you can ask them, what are you aware of in your environment? What are you saying and doing? Useful to compare this with what they are actually said and did in your observation. What are you the next? What are you thinking? Watch their eye movement, which will give more information about their internal strategy than their conscious answer to the questions. If you notice them using visual eye accessing cues, for example, ask them, what do you see? What are your capabilities? One of them will be the skill you are modeling. What is important to you at this time? This is to eclipse values. What do you believe about yourself, about others, about situation? How would you describe yourself? What is your identify? How do you connect with other system of which you are part? Get feedback through how to ensure that your subject is comfortable and happy with the way you are going about this. The next five. Have someone else model the skill and compare your findings with theirs. Six, now reproduce the thinking and behavior patterns of your subject so that you take on their strategy. Seven, test your model by talking away one elements and time as you use it. If the elements isn't key to the process, it won't not make any difference. In some cases, talking away and elements may even enhance the process. 8. Do the results that you achieve match the result that your model achieves? If they do, you have been successful. If they don't, go back and find out what other elements make a difference. And the last, 9. Note down the strategies so that you can continue to use and, if appropriate, develop it. And the last summary I want to say, one definition of NLP is that it is the study of structure of subjective experience. We all experience external events, but what we do with them is subjective. If we want to reproduce the results that we recognize in ourselves or in others, then what we can study is the structure of that subjectivity. Not only can we then learn how to reproduce those skills, but we are respecting the uniqueness of our individual interpretations of life. If we can learn how to respect individual culture, maybe we can begin to do the same in the world at large. Thank you for your attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Okay, for our participants, if you have any question, please raise hand or you can write in the room chat. Okay, for first question, we have the question in the Zoom chat. Good afternoon, I'm Fahrul from Computer System Department. How can business harness the power of NLP natural language processing to gain a competitive edge, and what specific difference does NLP make in shaping successful strategy and outcome? Thank you.
It was a question. I'm sorry, I don't hear.
Okay, how can business harness the power of NLP?
I'm sorry, I don't hear.
I'm ready right in the Zoom chat, Miss. We have three questions from audience. You can hear my voice? Hello? Good morning. Halo? Oh, jaringannya. You can hear my voice, Miss? Halo?
I see the question in chat, and I think yes. I think yes, you can use the method of NLP to for more smoothly gain the business meeting. Yes, I think you can. I think NLP is the most technologies of NLP is, I think it's most good instrument for it. The next question was specific. I think that in Ukraine many successful enterprises use these technologies in practice in business. Yes, many enterprises. How can business about NLP again? I think all businesses, I think all companies, I think all enterprises, not only trade business, not only. I think all business, all enterprises can use the power of NLP.
Okay, thank you so much for answering. I think it's very clear answer from Professor. Okay, I guess no one else asking again. Before I close this event, I will go to the next session. For all participants, please open your camera. I will take a picture on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Thank you for your keen cooperation. Finally, we come to the end of visiting lecture today. We would like to say to Miss Iryna for the wonderful information. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. We hope this information will be beneficial for all participants. At last, we hope to have more collaboration in the future with University Custom and Finance. The visiting lecture for today and here. We hope to see you soon. Thank you and have a nice day for everyone. Thank you so much for Miss Iryna.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye. Nice to meet you. Nice to
Nice
meet
to
you.
see
Thank you. Bye.
you. Bye bye.